If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
It's KFI AM 640, and you're listening to The Conway Show on demand on the iHeartRadio app. KFI AM 640, it is The Conway Show. All right, Dig Dog. We're back at work again. Yeah! It's Short Fuse Monday. The weekend's gone, back to work again. It's Short Fuse Monday. It's back to work again. There's an old Steckler song that you like to sing on Mondays. I enjoyed that. All right, let's get right to ABC anchor of the ABC World News Tonight, Alex Stone.
Oh, I like how you promoted me. Thank you.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hey, welcome back.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I miss coming in and working. You don't. I honestly, God, I do, because of the people I work with. And also, it's really a good job. I mean,
it is.
There are very
We're
few.
Not doing brain surgery here.
Right, yeah. When you're driving, I drove from Oregon back to California, and you see guys that are working for a living. Guys are working on the road. Guys are driving UPS trucks or FedEx or Amazon. Guys that are working in the ditches. Guys that have real jobs. Or you stop in a town, to overnight, and you go to a bar, and it's filled with regulars, and those guys are all working, at 7 o'clock in the morning till 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Those are the real guys that are working. This is not work.
You're like, well, I'm going to go into an air-conditioned room.
That's right. Yeah, with Bellio
talk
and
into
closure.
This microphone.
That's right. It's easy as hell.
Yeah.
Hey, so I'm going to survive for another 3 years. The Menendez brothers have failed to, fly the coop or escape the coop or whatever they do. And
they're not going to be able to come after you because they're not going anywhere, at least for now. You remember when Mark Garagos, he was saying, last year, they'll be out by Thanksgiving. They're going to have Thanksgiving dinner. And then it became Christmas. And then it became New Year's. And then it just kept getting delayed. And even last week, he was saying this next Thanksgiving that he hopes that they're going to be out. But
Alex, don't you think that Newsom put pressure on the parole board to keep him in? Because what a commercial that would be for Republicans. These kids shot their mother in the face. She was crawling away. They reloaded, came in and finished her off. That's who you want? The guy who just released those two people?
Assuming that the system is the way it's supposed to be, he should have had no interaction with them because he could have vetoed it when they got done. Had they approved it and given them parole, that then all he would have to do is veto it.
But he didn't want that pressure on himself.
Yeah.
I bet you, I guarantee you that he had one of his underlings, say, hey, don't put the pressure on me. Tell these guys to keep him at least till the next election.
Yeah, I don't know. And, at this point, we don't know when, if ever, they're going to get out. And it's 3 years that they can go in front of the board again, but with good behavior, it's more like 18 months that in reality that they probably will. But it was late on Friday. Yeah. There was a big, long delay because of audio that we aired on Friday afternoon of Erik's parole hearing that the prison system released to us, and we aired it, and then that became a whole stink inside the meeting with or the hearing with the Menendez attorneys saying that it leaked out and should not have aired, even though it was the day before's hearing that had already been decided, saying that was going to impact the commissioners on Lyle. I don't think that they were paying any attention to ABC News while they were holding this hearing, right. And they should not have been paying any attention. But there were all kinds of crazy rules on this hearing that all day long we were getting reports out from a pool reporter who was listening to it. They allowed one pool reporter to give us notes, but we were not allowed to, acknowledge all day long until the hearing was over that we had seen these pool reports until it ended, and we couldn't even forward them amongst ourselves to our colleagues of what was going on inside.
That's horrible.
Because they said that would impact what the parole board was doing. Again,
that's not true.
Those commissioners are not paying attention to the news media, and if they are, then it seems they got a problem with their job. But anyway, bottom line, this means that they are not getting out right now. We do have that audio that caused all that stink on Friday from Erik Menendez's hearing, and the commissioner told Erik this.
I would have to say, looking at your record, that it is not only replete with violations, but they're very diverse in nature. In other words, you have violence, you have manipulation, you have misuse of things, you have criminal acts, you have substance abuse. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you've done over the years while you've been incarcerated.
Wow. So they said he and Lyle are still a danger to society at this point, and that they're not getting out. And much of this came down to illegal cell phones that the two brothers had in prison. And yeah, a lot of people outside the prison system are like, who cares? Every inmate has an illegal cell phone. They're smuggled into everybody. But that's seen as a big deal. That's how gangs communicate to do drug deals and hits and everything else. And because they are illegal to have in prison, that if you do something illegal in prison that's against the rules, it's seen that when you get out that you're going to be more willing to not follow the rules and maybe do something illegal. And Erik was asked about that he had a smuggled cell phone all the way well into 2025. And he said he had to have it to know what Nathan Hochman was arguing against him, so he could get his argument ready to know whatever Hochman was doing. But they said, look, you're trying to get released and you were breaking the rules. And he said, well, this is why.
I really became addicted to this, to the phones, and said, you're doing life without, this is not really harming anyone, is what I told myself. My denial patterns were strong, minimizing, rationalizing, justifying, blaming my circumstances, saying that everyone else did it.
And then Lyle talked about, and we don't have Lyle's audio because they're not going to give it to us now after everything of giving us Erik's audio caused with the big delay on Friday night. We may get it later, but not yet. But he talked about during this, we know that he said he saw the abuse that he claims his dad put upon them, the sexual abuse, as a sign that his dad loved him and that he tried to keep his dad's love, and that when he started abusing Erik, his dad abused Erik, he said that he felt like his dad was loving him being Lyle, less. And
oh my God,
they
love
talked
triangle.
About,
Weird
yeah,
love.
being abused and the whole lifestyle in there that in a weird, twisted way, he almost wanted the abuse because it meant love from his dad, who he was trying to impress. But Erik admitted that even though he fantasized about his dad being dead and they thought that the killing was the only way to get away from the sexual abuse, that, the argument over and over again has been this was self-defense. And they've made that claim. Their legal team has. Their family members have said it at all the news conferences. He admitted it was not self-defense. And even though they felt like that was their only way out, they claimed, the commissioner said, yeah, but you were 18 and 21 years old. You had 4.0 GPAs. There could have been some other way out. But he admitted it was not self-defense because his life was not in danger in that moment. This was that moment.
Was there any part of this that you believe was self-defense?
No.
No, there was no imminent. I mean, I get it if he's pounding coming through your door.
So he said no, and he said there was no justification for the murders based on everything that they know now. And so the parole board said, you're not safe to put it back into society. Used terrible judgment back in 1989 with this. They went back to the brutality of the crimes and going back and killing Kitty and shooting her in the face when they knew that she was still alive a little bit. But Tim Margaragos is saying this is an unjust parole ruling and it will be overturned and he's going to appeal.
Every living member of their family wants them out. Nobody is seriously believes they're a threat to public safety. Enough's enough.
I do.
And he's still hoping that Governor Newsom is going to give them clemency, or they get a whole new trial under habeas corpus where they argue that they didn't get a fair trial back in the 90s. They should get a new one.
What's next for them? We'll probably put it both to the governor, who has the constitutional authority to reverse this abomination, or we'll put it in front of a Superior Court judge and let them decide whether or not they think this process was fair. I've been doing this for over 40 years. This was not a fair proceeding. It violated due process, and it was an outrage.
But habeas corpus, that was always seen as a long shot in this whole thing, that even Gascon did not support the argument for a new trial of habeas corpus. But now they're looking at that as maybe a likely path. Governor Newsom has not given any indication that he's going to give them clemency. And to your point a moment ago, Tim, that now not only would it would have been vetoing what they did, now he would have to contradict the parole board that said that they are a risk to society still, and that it's not safe to put them out, to give them clemency and let them out. And if he's going to run for president, who knows, but if he's going to run for president, to be the governor who let out the Menendez brothers and overruled the assessment from the parole board that they are a danger, seems like something he's probably not going to want to do.
Yeah, Alex Stone is with us from ABC News. It wasn't just the cell phone that he had. There was a laundry list of infractions while they've been incarcerated.
There was violence. There was tax fraud. There were a number of things.
Yeah, and these kids, this didn't start in Beverly Hills. They used to live in a very nice house out in Calabasas, And they found that these two kids, Erik and Lyle, were going to neighbors' houses when they were just teenagers, robbing homes in the very affluent neighborhood.
Yeah, burglary came up quite a bit for Erik, especially because he was the one who was really behind those. And they talked about the burglaries that he had done. And he said, look, I was a teenager and I didn't find my way and all of that at that point. But all of it was part of the decision in the end where they said, and a lot of the analysts going into it had said this is going to be about what they have done in prison or haven't done and what the likelihood of reoffending. This board really, or there was two different boards, one for each of them, really went back to the original crimes and went back to the burglaries before and said those were too heinous to now just say, you know what, you get to go free. And it brings up the whole debate of, is prison about punishment or is it about safety to society? And this board seemed to go more on the side of that punishment is a part of this, that a jury said that they should go to prison and that it's not time for them to get out right now. And so they can try again in probably really 18 months, but officially 3 years.
Was it unanimous or was there any wiggle room?
What's that?
Was it unanimous or was there any wiggle room?
No, it was unanimous. Okay. At least from what we know, they just come back and say what their findings were. These were two-person boards, so it would have to be unanimous or it would be split down the middle.
Right.
And they did indicate, though, that they do believe at some point down the road that they will get parole. They said one day, something to the effect of, one day when you are paroled, you will be a good member of society by then, but you're not there yet.
Wow.
So they've indicated that day will come, and it is not unusual for, in a murder case, the first time the defendants come before the parole board, they're almost never given parole.
Right.
So it would have been highly unlikely on the first try that they were going to be given parole, but they could get it in a year and a half. They could get it many, many years from now, or the governor could always veto it no matter what. Only California and Oklahoma allow the governor to overrule the parole board. So if they grant, he could always, whoever the governor is at that time, could always veto and say no way.
Buddy, I appreciate you coming on. That's a lot of great information, man.
You got it. Thanks,
All
sir.
right, thanks. Alex Stone with ABC News. Don't do it, Lyle. Lyle is staying in prison with Erik, and I can sleep easy for 3 more years. Because one of their lawyers, while that whole case was going on in the late 90s, said you can't get a fair trial with a-holes like Conway and Seckler on the radio banging on you every day. And I thought, well, wait, we weren't hitting them as hard as John and Ken. John and Ken were calling them, they had a segment every day called Fry the Menendez. And we didn't hit them that hard. But for some reason, we got the blame. So I'm glad they're staying in prison. I can sleep tonight. Those two idiots in prison for killing their parents. And I understand, look, if dad's abusing you, maybe dad, takes the quick way out. Maybe you get rid of dad. But the mom, you shoot your mom in the face, and then she's crawling away. You go out, reload, and you shoot her again? No. Society, there's not enough room for cats like that. All right, we're live on KFI.
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
Conway Show. KFI AM 640. It is the Conway Show. And we don't have a lot of breaking news. There's no riots. There's no big fires. The Spoda Basin was on fire a while ago. I think that's out. And there was a car chase earlier, a high-speed chase. But remember back in, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago when there's a high-speed chase, everybody watched it. Everybody was on it. Now there's a high-speed chase, like, all right, well, it doesn't seem to be going any, crazy direction. I'll check back with it later. They don't have the impact that they used to. Man, when you missed a chase, 10 years ago, you're like, oh, Christ, what was I doing? Oh, how did it end? You have it on video? What's going on? Did you watch it live? Now they're so common, and they almost all end the same way, where the guy wipes out and the cops arrest him, and then you've wasted an hour of your life. So there should be, it needs to, when the NBA was getting tired, people were tuning out of the NBA. They brought in the 3-point line, and that brought some people back. When hockey was slowing down, they weren't scoring enough goals. They got rid of the 3-line rule or the 2-line rule, where you couldn't go past the blue line, the red line with the puck, and now you can get breakaways. And they also said that the goalie can't go behind the net, can only handle the puck behind the net in that sort of triangle or rectangle that they have behind the net. They made a few adjustments. In baseball, the American League had the designated hitter, and the National League still had these pitchers hitting. And every time the pitcher would come up, he would look like a kid who's never batted before against a major leaguer. It'd be 3 pitches, and he was out most of the time. And if you ever got a hit, it would be a miracle. And if he got a home run, everybody would talk about it. And then so the National League brought in the designated hitter. And because these games were going on so long, if it was tied at the end of 9 innings, now in the 10th inning, the team starts, whoever's up at bat first, the visiting team, starts with a man on second. And then when the home team comes up to bat, they start with a man on second to try to speed up the games. They also introduced the pitch clock in Major League Baseball. And that's all to make fans, more interested in watching the games. Well, there needs to be something like that with chases. We've got to tweak these chases, and I don't know what it is, but these chases have to have an upgrade. And I don't know what it is, but there's got to be something more to it. Because we've seen, the white 1992 Camry slide through L.A. and then just pull over and get arrested. And eventually you're like, it's not enough for me. The one where the guy was driving the panel truck that ended up in Lakewood or near Long Beach, where he just plowed through everybody. And I don't know if he killed anybody. I think he injured a woman severely and put her in the hospital. But that was a chase that people talked about for a long time. Also, the Mad Max one, where the lady was driving an RV and she had 2 dogs in the RV, and she hit a tree and it wiped out half of the RV, ended up on Tampa and Ventura Boulevard. And when she crashed, the dog flew out. The dog was bleeding. Man, that was a chase. You remember the good ones. Remember the really good ones. The best one, I think, to date is, well, the OJ one's good because you knew who it was and everybody watched it. But the guy that stole a tank in San Diego, he stole a Bradley tank. I think it was a Bradley tank in San Diego. And he was driving around the freeways. He was driving over through mobile home parks. He drove through RVs like they were butter, like they were soft, room temperature butter. And that was great to watch. They eventually caught that guy. He corner hung himself in the median of a freeway. I think it was the 805 freeway or the 8 freeway.
It was the 5.
Oh, was it 5 freeway?
Yeah, it was by La Jolla.
Okay, were you down there Sammy's here?
I remember that.
Oh, I do too. He got corner hung, and they opened up the turret. They opened up the opening where the guys get into the tank, and they just shot him to death. That's back when it was no nonsense. Now there's 900 cameras and everything. Can't do that.
Well, the internet, it makes it so that just like how you were talking about sports, I don't watch live sports as much anymore because I can just go on YouTube and catch the highlights within 10 minutes.
I do the same thing.
Instead of sitting around waiting for an hour watching the guy go through whatever he goes through during the chase, we get a 10-minute sum up of it by people who do play-by-play of it.
Right.
It's a lot of fun.
I record every Dodger game, and then I look at the box score, and I see, okay, the Dodgers scored in the 3rd, 4th, and 8th inning. I'll just watch those innings. And I just watch those innings. And it makes it much more interesting at home. Like yesterday's San Diego game, I looked at the box score. I saw they scored 5 runs in the 7th. And I just fast forward to the 7th. Then I fast forward to see who hit the home run in the 9th. It was Shohei Ohtani. And that's the way I watch a game. But something has got to happen with these chases to make them more interesting because you're losing me. And once you lose me, man, you lose a lot of people.
Well, what about the one on Friday night where the guy stopped for gas?
Oh, I didn't see that
exciting.
one. I was with Steph Foosh the whole week. I didn't see that.
Oh, you're a good man. How's he doing?
You.
How's he doing?
He's okay. He's doing all right. He's had 6 surgeries.
Wow.
And so he's, I don't know. That left arm, it's going to be funky. I hope when he trick or treats, he's a right arm eater. Sorry.
Yeah.
No other references.
I don't either.
But when he goes to a buffet.
Left arm is funky.
It is, man. I think that's what doctor said.
That's a medical term?
That's a
clinical term, yeah.
That's some funk to it.
Yeah, you learned that in med school. Man, that's a funky arm you got there, bub.
Nice.
Oh, gee. Gallows humor, everybody.
You know, with all that money was raised, maybe you could buy one of those bionic arms, you know? And
Steph McEnroe.
And get a sound effect. You remember, like, who was it? Steve Austin?
Yeah, Jamie Summers.
Yeah, Steve Austin. Or the bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum,
And then you'll get upset with him when he's running the board and you're talking and it's like beep, 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 beep.
He was just getting by with both arms with that board.
Conway.
Sorry.
Be nice.
Sorry.
Be nice.
I mean, some night of this, you know, a lot of your microphone, and then all of a sudden, don't touch that button. Please don't touch that button. The bionic man. We can build him stronger, slower at the buttons. I wish him well, though. I spent all week with him, 7 days, about 12 hours a day, and I got exhausted.
How many books did you get through?
How many what?
Books.
Oh, we just watched TV and played video games. I smoked him. You know, you can only
Crazy
use
Taxi.
he can only use his right arm that he never uses.
He should have used his feet.
Yeah. I beat him 100-0. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Foosh, technical board op for the Conway show. We can rebuild him stronger, faster. Not so much better. Foosh, the $113,000 man. All right, we're live. It's Conway Show on KFI.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
KFI AM 640. It is the Conway Show. Hey, is Bellio in there? I think Bellio is with us, right?
Yeah, I literally just saw you 2 seconds ago.
Hey, any way to get Carolla to come on this week?
He is coming on.
When's he coming on?
Let me see what I have here. Carolla.
You write down?
Carolla.
Oh, you're checking your email.
Yeah, is that a problem?
Oh, that's great.
Do you guys have time?
Sure. We'll just hang. Yeah.
I think we're having him on Wednesday at 5:05.
That's great. I wanted to come on because I drove from Portland, and near Portland, 40 miles outside of Portland, down to Burbank on Saturday and Sunday, and I listened to his podcast all the way down, and that drive usually seems like 2 days of absolute hell. It's 113 out. Everywhere you stop, it's dirty, you know, because the winds are blowing, the dust, all the crops are done mostly for the season, and everything's been, you know, rolled into the ground, and there's dust and dirt everywhere. And it's a really tough drive. It's great in the winter. You know, everything's green. It rains. You know, you can stop and enjoy yourself and get out and, you know, see the mountains and everything. But in the summer, you just want to keep going. You want to keep driving. You know, you don't want to stop. And again, every time you do stop, there's a dust storm that'll wipe you out. And I listened to his podcast the whole way down, and that drive seemed like 20 minutes. You know, I mean, it's so great to have, you know, podcasts like, you know, here at iHeart or even just the iHeart app. And you can listen to all these shows and all these, you know, because back when I used to start driving in 2000, I don't know, it's like 1998. It's the first time I drove up to Oregon with my then girlfriend, who would later become my wife. And we would listen to, you know, either CDs or we'd listen to local radio. And, you know, as you drive through California, Oregon, you listen to local radio. And a lot of the Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon local radio is AM stations talking about the Bible. And you sort of just got into it. You know, you listened to it. It made you feel better. And then that station would fade out. And you have to find another station. And maybe you'll find a sports station that's offering the football games. You can listen to those. But now with this, you know, with the iHeart app and all of the YouTube stuff, man, you can listen to anything from anywhere in the world. You know, you're no longer subjected to just the local stations in Fresno, Sacramento, Ashland, Medford, you know, as you drive up there. And it really does make it great. I listened to 2 hours of Carolla talking to Carrot Top, right? If anyone said, you're going to listen to 2 hours of Carolla talking to Carrot Top, and I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome, especially not the comedy part. You know, when I really got to like Carrot Top, and then he said, oh, his favorite comedian's Gallagher, and I went, oh, we went down a couple notches again. But when Carrot Top talked about his dad, man, it was a great podcast. His dad was responsible for working on the space shuttle. He worked for NASA. His dad, and you know, he's the one that had to invent the brace to put the space shuttle on top of a 747, which is a very difficult thing to do. And so I emailed it to Michelle Cube, because Michelle Cube's dad, little did she know until I think, you know, years afterwards. But Michelle Cube, Bellio, what's Michelle Cube's title here? I don't want to screw that up.
Executive producer, operations manager.
Okay. And she, for a long time, was the executive producer of the Bill Handel Show.
Yes.
Okay. So her dad, she had a dad. She lived down in Fullerton or somewhere in Orange County. And she always asked her dad, what do you do? And he couldn't tell her. And then she found out later on in life that he worked on the space shuttle. And he was, I think, responsible for the bay doors opening up and the big arm coming out, helping with the help of the Canadians, and working on the space shuttle. And man, when I heard that, I couldn't wait to just chew her ear off. I love guys like that, you know, who work for NASA and work for the space shuttle. Because those guys, you know, those guys don't go to the store and buy parts and get the space shuttle going. Everything is custom made. Everything is built from scratch. Every bolt, everything, nothing is purchased at Home Depot. You don't go to Home Depot or Lowe's and say, hey, I need a window that can withstand 17,000 degrees. Got anything? Got anything like that? They don't. So everything has to be manufactured. Everything has to be designed. And every time that space shuttle took off, it had the potential of exploding into a bomb. It's a controlled bomb that's going to space. And I was a big, huge fan of that. And Carrot Top's dad worked on the space shuttle. You got to listen to that. The Carolla talking to Carrot Top. That was a cool deal. All right. You know, the milestones of growing up. There's 4 of them. I met 2 of them, and I didn't get the other 2 till later on in life. But here are the milestones from becoming a child, going to adulthood. If you don't know them, here they are.
What are the milestones that have historically been associated with adulthood?
In the 1970s, almost half of young adults between the ages of 25 and 34.
Okay, you get that? 25 to 34. Here are the 4 stages when you're transitioning from being a child to an adult.
Had achieved the following 4 milestones. They'd moved out of their parents' home. They were working. They were married, and they had a child.
Okay, those are the 4 benchmarks there. Here they are again.
Moved out of their parents' home. They were working. They were married, and they had a child.
Okay, I got 2 of those. I didn't get the other 2 till much later in life. But I moved out. I started working early. I was 15 when I got my first job at Amber's Chicken by the way, on Halloween was my very first day of work. You know, at 15, you'd love to go out with your friends trick-or-treating, you know, just out in the neighborhood, buzzing around. There's a party. And I was frying chicken like an idiot till about 10 o'clock at night. And then went to look at my friends. I couldn't find them. It was a really bummer. But I moved out of my dad's house at 17. June before my 18th birthday. So June, July, August, September, 5 months before my 18th birthday, I left home. I moved out. And a lot of my friends did as well. Crosha, how old were you when you moved out of the house? Were you 4?
Well, college, but aside from that, when I came out here, I was 19.
19. Yeah. All right. That's a cool age.
Yeah.
And then you got a job early, I bet. I bet you've always been working.
Yeah. I mean, I worked for my dad during the summers doing construction, all that stuff. So.
And then how old were you when you had a kid and you got married?
31.
Okay. So you did everything by 31.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's a huge landmark. Angel, how old were you when you moved out of the house? 40?
21.
21. All right, that's a cool
Maybe,
deal.
yeah,
and probably while
something
he's
like
working,
that.
too. You seem like a worker bee.
Yeah, I was and going to school. So I was doing all that.
Excellent. What about you, Belly? How old were you when you moved out of the house?
26.
Yep.
Yep.
Whoa.
They loved having me.
I guess so. They had
Go.
They had to.
They actually did.
Yeah, I bet they did.
Listen, I worked. I went to school. I had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the house.
I guess.
Yeah.
Right. Did you have your adult friends over?
No.
No? You never did like a sleepover with executives that you were working with?
No.
Okay.
No, or I wouldn't be living there.
All right, Sammy, how old are you? Sammy's in for Foosh. How old were you when you moved out?
I was 19, and then I moved back for a sec, and then I moved out for good when I was 24.
All right, 24. That's cool. These kids nowadays, some of them are staying around way too long. 29, 30, 32.
Saving money.
Expensive out there, man.
I know it's expensive, but God, I'd rather live in in an old trailer somewhere. But being at home at 32, I think that's a rougher putt than living in a studio apartment in on Kester somewhere. Sorry, gang, I got an email. It said, why do I always use Kester and Sherman Way as the hellhole of the valley? I don't know. Maybe because it is. That's one of the reasons.
Did you mention how old you were when you moved out?
Yes.
How old did you say?
You got to listen to the podcast.
Oh.
How do I find that?
Go to iHeartRadio.
Yeah.
And then it'll be up there by 7.
What's the name of it?
7:15 Conway Show.
Conway, very good.
You'll like it. You'll like it. I think you'll like it. One of the voices will be really familiar. Yeah, you. I was 17.
Wow.
I was 17. That's Bellio's new move. She laughs like a clown, like a ho 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 ho, like Santa Claus. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we saved one life with Steph Foosh, and I don't like to say I saved his life, but everyone else thinks I did, so I'm going to go with it. But we got another guy who was blown up here at iHeart, and we're going to try to help him out. An old buddy of mine, and he's a really cool guy. You probably know him from Petros and Money. And then he was here for a while as well. Misak Tukmanian, one of my favorite dudes. But he's got something he's working on, and we'll talk about it when we come back. It's going to be great, I hope. We're live on KFI. Entire show. Yeah. So it'd be a promo. Yeah. All right, it's Conway Show on KFI AM 640. Always trying to save the world. Normally we wouldn't have all my buddies whose bodies are breaking down on every week, but I have a feeling a lot of guys and a lot of gals are going through what Misak is going through here, and I wanted to give him a platform. Misak Tukmanian, how are you, bub?
I'm doing okay. How are you, Tim?
All right, I'm doing fine, thanks, bub. You're a father of one or two now?
One.
But you want two?
Yeah, we'd love to have more.
And you got married like I did a little later in life.
I was 30, I think.
30, right. Okay, that's not bad. And then you found out that your kidneys are not operating the way they should.
Yeah, about 3 years ago, went in for a regular physical, and the doctor's like, you need to see a nephrologist. You need to see a specialist. Something's a little off.
Right.
Usually it's like dehydration, but this doesn't seem to be just dehydration. So for a couple of years, we monitored my kidney function, and it fluctuated. And then most recently, in the last 2 years, they just went straight down, like straight down from 40, 50% to zero at this point.
We have a friend in common, David Mosikian, who runs the Commerce Casino. And I had talked to you, and your doctor recommended you go on dialysis, and you said, nah, you really didn't want to do it. I called Mosik, and I go, buddy, you're closer to him. You got to talk to him in Armenian and tell him he's got to do this.
Yeah. I should have listened to you guys earlier, because towards the end there,
it was tough.
It was very tough.
But you look great, buddy.
I look great now because of the technology in and around dialysis. Before dialysis started, that last month, I was like yellow.
Yeah,
my skin was yellow. I was weak.
You were thin, too.
Yeah, and thankfully, I'm able to live and work and have somewhat of a normal life, but going 4 times to dialysis, no fun.
Wait, 4 times a week you go?
Yep, 3.5 hours each session.
Oh, no, that's a lot. But see, I want to do this because I think a lot of people, Neil Saavedra went through this. A lot of people are going through this.
Yes.
With their kidney problems. So, it's not like, you have some rare disease. It's 1 in a trillion.
100,000
There are people listening right
Americans.
now. They're doing this.
Absolutely. 100,000 Americans are affected by this and or are on dialysis.
And what's the test to see if they're a match with you?
The initial questionnaire is just a regular health questionnaire, but then they do, first off, they try to match by blood because then it's just easier.
Right.
But with advancements in medical, you don't have to be, I'm an O blood person. My kidney's O blood. So I can technically accept a non-O blood, but it's just tougher. But now
the rejection's higher?
Yes,
Right.
and unlikely that it'll work. But now they have different things called like the swap program, where if you're A, you give your A kidney to an A recipient, and then because you did that for me, I get the next available O in the country.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of advancements. So if someone is not O blood and they say, hey, I'm want to be crazy enough to help this random stranger on the radio, they could still help me very much, and or somebody else.
Right, and somebody contacted you when you were on a couple months ago.
Yes.
And she was a match?
She was not a match, but a gracious listener of your show. Her name is Crystal. And actually one other gentleman who he had different health complications who couldn't qualify. Crystal went through the process for a few months, went through every test, blood exam, this, that. And they found out that she actually had some kidney problems herself, whereas she didn't qualify to do it. She was ready and willing to give me a kidney to a random stranger.
That's the listeners here
Yeah,
at KFI.
great people.
But you may have saved her life. She didn't know she had kidney problems.
She literally did not know. She goes, my regular checkup had not found this because it's a more invasive blood draw. It's a specific panel, and her doctor had not caught it.
All right, where are you going to be on Wednesday? What's going on?
So Wednesday, we're putting on an event of kidney donation awareness and education. Unfortunately, not enough info out there about so many people affected by this.
Right.
So in Glendale at a banquet hall, we're going to do an event Wednesday evening, the 27th. We're working with an organization that puts together recipients and potential donors. If they want a swab, they could do a swab test to start the process. But
how do they get information on it?
It's all over our social medias, your show and my personal. So if they go to your page, they'll see my page and everything is there. If you search, you'll find us. And Wednesday night, just come. If you want to learn a little bit more about what it means to be a donor.
Excellent. What time on Wednesday?
7 o'clock.
Excellent, buddy. I wish you well. Please come back and keep us updated.
Yeah, I'm going to come back with a kidney, and we're going to celebrate.
Yes, maybe we'll eat it together.
Yeah, we could do that, too.
Let's eat your old one when it comes out.
You don't want to eat that one, trust me. Thanks, Tim.
All right, you're the best, buddy. Go to our website. Go to our social media. All the information's there. If you'd like to go at 7 o'clock in Glendale at Banquet Hall. Right?
Yeah, Palladio Banquet Hall, Wednesday the 27th.
Excellent, buddy. You're the best.
Thanks so much.
And please come on again. Anything you need.
Sure will. Anytime.
You're the best, buddy.
We'll talk hockey.
That's right. The Kings. All right, let's take a break. We're live on KFI More Now with Crush.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.